What is up, everybody? This is Paul, and in this video what I want to do is show you guys some of the new features of Uplift Bassline version 1.1, which I will have a link in the description of this video for where you can go download that on the Max4Live device sharing place. But before we get started, I want to give a big shout out to Dan Filaretti, for he was the original guy who made Uplift Arpeggio, which Uplift Bassline is sort of based off of. And if you look at the two GUIs, they're pretty similar, so you can kind of see a lot of similarities. And also keep in mind, I'm really new to Max4Live. This is like the first real device that I've ever created. So I'm really excited and still learning a lot. I've only been really using it like 2 weeks. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this video. I want to just show a couple of the new features that I added in version 1.1 and how I use it in a track. So to get started, I just have this basic Silent 1 bass line. This is just a normal bass sound from Ayin Zahiv's bank, Colors Bank. So you can kind of hear the sound there. Pretty typical for your rolling bass line. Before I do anything else, I'm going to set the project template to 138, as it should be. And let's go ahead and drag in the version of Uplift Bassline that you will find here on the device store. So this is going to be the project, and there's a couple things going on here that I want to go over. So the first is this sort of which octaves are playing. So if I hold a note down, you can hear that it's playing the notes just kind of arpeggiated as 16th notes. But what this second row is, these are the same note just an octave above. So if I want to get that typical kind of rolling bassline feel, I can turn some of these up an octave. You kind of have this up down or down up down pattern, and you'll hear it. And to really flesh things out even more, is what we can do is we can turn off the notes on every quarter note, and that's usually where, if you're doing Uplifting Trance or any of these things, you'll see where the kick is going to come in. So that's where that would go, and then the rest of these 16th notes are just what the octaves are doing. And one of the cool things you can do as well that I added in version 1.1 is you can actually tie notes together. So if you want to get sort of a more groovy bass line, you can do that as well. And of course, some of these other features you just kind of got to play around with to see what they do. This is the gate control. Can't hear it super well with all these tied notes, but if I turn these off, this really helps getting those sort of psytrance-y bass lines. Of course, we can also randomize the octaves as well. And really just kind of play around with it. We can also change the velocities around. This was something Dan had in his Uplifting Arpeggio, and really just kind of get a feel for what all these controls do. Alright, now what I want to do is show you guys how you would use this in the context of a project. So this is a song I've been working on. It's the first song I've ever done live, so go easy on me. And let me just play the section of the song where you can really have the bass lines going. Now there's a lot of stuff going on here, so it may not be as easy to hear it, but I'll solo it after, but I want to kind of give you guys the context that this is going to be in. Okay, so you kind of get the idea. Now let me go ahead and solo these bass lines so you can kind of hear exactly what's going on with them. So those of you who aren't familiar with Uplifting Trance, this may actually sound like one bass line going on, but there's actually 4 that are being played. So let's solo each of these and we can see what the patterns are doing. And before I do that, what I want to do is I do want to show you guys that the MIDI for all of these are exactly the same. And this is where I was talking about earlier, being kind of lazy. I can have these patterns doing different things when they're arpeggiated, even if the notes, these are just kind of the notes that they're playing. And generally, you're going to have all your bass lines probably generally playing the same notes. That's not exactly the case later on and earlier on in the song. I have some of them jumping around more than others, but that's easy to change. But in general, once again, I felt like I was fighting with Ableton's or Live's piano roll, whereas coming from FL, you know, it's really nice probably the best piano roll there is, where you can really just easily make these changes. So I was kind of missing that, which is kind of why I created this device. So let's go ahead and listen to this first one. All this is that traditional, almost psytrance-y bass line where it's just 3/16 notes. Let me play this with the kick so you get an idea of where the kick's going. Okay, now let's listen to the second one. Now this is that kind of rolling bass line that I talked about. So pretty simple, but a different sound and a different pattern. Listen to this third one. So this one's a little bit different. It kind of has this up, down, up pattern at the beginning, and then it goes down, up, down at the end, just kind of for a little bit different tone and flavor. And last but not least, this guy is kind of doing something similar, but just a little bit different. This is kind of a more psytrance-y feel, but I think the sound's kind of different as well. I got a phaser on here too. It's kind of her flanger that's moving around. So let me go ahead and add these in one by one so you kind of can hear. So that one kind of adds a little bit more body. So there you go, that's kind of the general idea. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I'm going to do my best to maybe make some more updates to see what I can do. One of the things I have updated or added is you don't necessarily have to have the transport control playing in order to get sound. So before you had to have the transport playing for there to be sound, now there isn't. Now they're tied notes. What I may do in the next version is I may add, and I actually think I have this already ready to go, it's just a little bit tricky to get it with the timing, is variable step length. So if you want it to be like, 6 steps long and get some interesting polyrhythms going on, that's kind of what that would be for. 7, you choose some weird prime number and you can get these really interesting bass lines. So maybe I'll do that in the next video, in the next update to this. But let me know what you guys think and if there's anything else you guys want added. Otherwise, I hope this is helpful, and I hope you get to use it in your productions, and I'd definitely love to hear what you guys come up with this. Peace.